Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is RIZQULLAH bin ABDULLAH. My ID number is 22B1006. I'm a student in UNISA taking Islamic economic. I'm taking economic development. So the topic for today's discussion is basically addressing Brunei's economic challenges through Islamic economics and principles. So basically, we are asked to choose one or two challenges that Brunei is facing today. So basically, the two, as you can see from the two challenges, out of all the challenges in Brunei, I chose this because this is my main concern for Brunei. So the first one is limited private sector growth, or you can rephrase it into the development of private sector. So the second one is basically integration of technology, on how Brunei are implementing and using technology to increase their productivity and efficiency in daily work. So the first one is limited private sector growth, or development of private growth. So basically, as you know, Brunei Darussalam is heavily relied on oil and gas industry, which the private sector plays a relatively small in contribution in terms of GDP in Brunei Darussalam. So as you know, as in 2023, the private sector workforce stands around 170,591 workers, with a 57.5% being local and this statistic, as I showed you, is basically a 2.8% increase from the previous year. So basically, as you know, why am I pointing this out is that oil industry, other than private sector, other than oil industry, has a huge struggle in terms of developing and growing in terms of their business, due to that Brunei Darussalam itself rely on oil and gas as their main industry to provide a big contribution to GDP itself, and also to support the Brunei economy. So the barriers to business, this is some of the regulation and barriers. So basically, barriers to business and investment in Brunei Darussalam is regulatory and bureaucratic obstacle, complicated business registration process, which it means that for a small business to start up, it has a lot of steps and procedure that we need to take into account before we can actually start the business up. So the third one is lack of supportive policy for SME. So as you can see, I take this from the Mental Blueprint. As you can see here, oil and gas industry and non-oil and gas industry, as you can see, as over time, the non-oil and gas sector has grown exponentially, and up until now it's taking over, it's having a greater portion compared to oil and gas industry. However, as I mentioned before, although this growth is growing over the year, but as you can see from the job seeker, if you can see from the second diagram here, you can clearly see that even though private sector itself is growing exponentially over the years, but in terms of employment that they provide, they're still lacking in producing quality jobs. For example, if we take the first degree and above, as you can see, the job vacancy, the grade 1, is only 311. However, the job seeker is 2,760. You can see the huge gap. This which is contributed into how do I say, unemployment, great unemployment. Pause. The next. Okay, moving on to the next discussion. Is basically integration of technology in Brunei Darussalam. As you know, in 2019, the growth of ICT itself is only 0.1%, as you can see here. But in 2030, there's an increase of 15.9%. Why is this growth is a huge difference between 2019 and 2020? As you know, 2019, it was the first. I think it was the first wave that Brunei Darussalam was hit with COVID-19. So we are changing towards from a physical class into an online teaching class platform. So at that stage, the students and all of the people that is working and studying are struggling to transition between physical workdays into an online platform, which creates a gap between in terms of the operating in terms of the technology. As you know, in Singapore, before even COVID happened, they are already slowly adapting to online teaching, online platform. So when the COVID started to hit them, they are well prepared and well educated on how to handle the situation. Whereas for Brunei has a slow transition in terms of technology, which leads to there's a slow process of transitioning and a costly in terms of the process. And also in Brunei culture, we are relying too much on physical class and physical teaching, because if you have an online platform, even parents have a trust issue that they think that when their kids or children using an online platform, they think they will not study and they will just play games and use it for unnecessary or unbeneficial place to do that. So like TikTok and whatsoever. So as you can see, the challenges integrating technology in Brunei. Brunei itself is operating at a low ICT, has a poor ICT infrastructure, I would say, because we rely too much on paper. We still print stuff, even in the workforce, in the office and whatsoever. So the gap between the government, business and society. So government should bridge and educate and implement a policy that this could help the Brunei itself to be better and grow slowly and able to compete with other companies and other countries. And lastly, that the government can also create a policy where digital economy, improving technology education to build digital talent, fostering a data-driven, interconnected economy. So basically, moving to the second part of the discussion regarding the topic itself is Islamic economics principle, relevance to the issue. So how Islamic economics is relevant to this particular issue that we're addressing in terms of technology and also development of private sector. So these are some of the principles of Islamic economics. But in my discussion, I will be taking prohibition of riba, risk sharing and profit sharing, and lastly ethical and halal business practices. So risk sharing and financial sharing. What is basically risk sharing? Risk sharing is basically when we're taking when we are financing a car. So we're borrowing money from the bank. So the risk sharing is basically the bank and the customer itself has the risk of whether the person itself are able to pay or not pay. This, what I mean is, the Arabic term is mudarabah, where it is a cost plus financing, where there is no riba involved. Whereas for musyarakah, it is basically means partnership, where there is transparency and responsibility in performing the business in time, effort, and also capital. And in this particular contract is where there are no unethical practices involved. So what I mean is Islamic banking holds 60% of total banking assets, which is BIBD. Expanding Islamic finance to SME for ethical risk sharing funding, stimulate entrepreneurship to reduce debt and burden, and enhancing private sector. So entrepreneurship and market ethics. So how does it help? So the first one is Hizbah, market regulation and akhlaq, which is ethics. Ensure fair competition and transparency. One of the things that I can emphasize is that in Islam there are prohibition in terms of when a business is monopolized that particular product. No hoarding, no dumping at a lower price to remove the other business or remove the other competition. So global leader, so Brunei basically is trying to achieve the global leader in halal certification and halal tourism and pharmaceutical. Expanding halal economy into fintech, halal tourism and healthcare. So basically Brunei is trying to do right now, but at the same time we're struggling in terms of the skill, capital, and also the demand for it. We're trying to make it our main export. So drive diversification, attract ethical investment, and boost global market presence, which is Brunei doing, what is Brunei doing right now. But at the same time, Brunei having issue in terms of attracting FDI because Brunei itself has a low low population, under a million. So moving to our third part of our discussion is the historical and modern case study that is relevant to this particular issue. We are trying to venture that whether during the Khulafa ar-Rashidin and during the Ottoman time, does it has any type of contribution towards this kind of problem? Do they have this kind of experience before? What kind of solution do they have, and what can Brunei take from it? So basically, as you know, economic stability from Khulafa ar-Rashidin, which is Sayyidina Umar, ensure that in a balanced system without overburdening business. So basically, that Sayyidina Umar implement a reform that distribute uncultivated land for farming, promoting self-sustainability and reducing dependency on imports. So basically, what it means that during the time of Sayyidina Umar, they do not rely on one particular product to export and to maintain their economy, but they're trying to venture in other type of product. One of it is in terms of farming. So basically, in Sayyidina Umar, they're trying to promote self-sustainability, that every person should produce or create a new product so that they can sustain themselves and not rely on the government itself. So the second one is fund allocated to public welfare, which is inspired by zakat and wakaf management. So basically, in Khulafa ar-Rashidin, they emphasize on zakat and wakaf because it is one of the compulsory and voluntary act that Rasulullah SAW practices daily or monthly. So they ensure that this kind of act can help in terms of wealth distribution in Brunei Darussalam. So what Brunei Darussalam can use this particular case study to learn from it. So basically, one of it is Islamic finance from farmers, which is the second one is incentive to encourage sustainability and food security, which is not rely on other countries or other particular company. Long-term economic resilience to agriculture growth, and government policy to support small farmers or small companies, allowing them to grow and able to slowly and surely develop to the GDP of Brunei Darussalam. The second one is Sayyidina Uthman bin Affan, played a crucial role in expanding trade routes in business networks, facilitating economic growth. He encouraged ethical business investment, ensuring that profit contributed to the welfare of the society, which is throughout this development, Sayyidina Uthman has upheld Islamic values and even economic liberalization. So basically, it shows that in Sayyidina Uthman, it shows that the strength of Islamic economics can definitely help the country growth. And application to Brunei Darussalam, what Brunei can take is basically the development of SME sector, promotion of ethical business and practices, reinvestment in local industry to stimulate growth and sustainability. So moving on, I'm sorry, this is what I'm talking about just now. So the third one is during the Ottoman Empire. So in Ottoman Empire, the wakaf system played a crucial role in the economy by funding public services like education, healthcare and infrastructure, all without burdening the state budget. The system ensured that wealth redistribution, provided a long-term stability, and encouraged private sector investment by supporting essential services. So what Brunei can learn from this particular case study is basically Brunei can benefit the revitalization its wakaf institution to foster economic growth. By utilizing wakaf funds, we can support small and medium enterprises, offering interest-free capital for startup. This would boost the private sector while also funding the digital literacy program and technology research, which are crucial for modernizing Brunei economy. So we have another two more case study. Basically, I'm just going to go one of it. I'm going to use Saudi Arabia. So in Saudi Arabia, digital transformation in Islamic finance, their vision in 2030 initiative is basically Saudi has accelerated digital transformation in Islamic finance, which includes blockchain technology, as you can see, which enhance the zakat operation and improving efficiency and transparency. And it also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're using AI to help to determine who are the best fitted to receive the zakat money. As you know, zakat golongan asnaf in Brunei Darussalam, we only have 6 out of 8. So the application, what can Brunei take from this is that Brunei's zakat and wakaf system could leverage blockchain technology and greater efficiency. Digital platform can streamline transaction, which has helped to reduce costs and boost public trust in financial institutions, which is what Brunei are desperately needed right now. So in conclusion, economic development is a vital driver of prosperity and well-being. We explore how investment, infrastructure, education and policy are the key in shaping sustainable growth, while equity and environment concern persistent strategy and inclusive policy, which can pave the way for a long-term success. Ultimately, it requires ultimate effort and collective effort from the government, business and individual, all have in ensuring that economic progress benefit everyone. I think that's all from me. Thank you so much for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.